everybody. Morning in some places. It's afternoon here in Georgia. It is 1:56 p.m. and it is Cinco de Mayo, everybody. That's right. It is May 5th. Hope everybody's having a great day. We got a good video going today. Today we're going to be doing a sovereign citizen. This guy is quite amusing. I'm going to show you some footage from his channel, why I believe, and so does a few other people in this genre, think that he's a sovereign citizen, some statements he's made. We're also going to go over some comment sections from his community post on his YouTube channel. It's going to be an interesting video, so everybody sit back, buckle up, get your drinks ready, get your popcorn ready. Let's have some laughs and some fun. Let's get into the video.
That I have uploaded as far as my material on YouTube goes. Schrodinger's cat, the individual behind this account, has downloaded my YouTube video somehow, pirating it and re-uploading it as basically his material with his own bullshit commentary.
Okay, so I'm going to stop the video right here. Let me go into some explanation here. This man absolutely has no clue what the DCMA states. He has no understanding of what fair use is, but he's going to go ahead and accuse someone of pirating video footage. By the way, he doesn't own the video footage. The video footage is video footage from the Halifax County Sheriff's Office in Halifax County, Virginia, and it's their deputies' body cameras that recorded this incident that he's talking about. I will leave a link to Schrodinger's cat's video going over the situation that Mike here is talking about, and we'll jump back into this video here and see what else Mr. Mike has to say.
So here I am. I wanted to articulate what's going on for those of you that think I'm a mental midget. That's what he called me. So I want to just elaborate on how much of a mental midget and mongoloid Schrodinger's cat actually is. For him to have all the views and all the subscribers that he there has to be some really depressing people out here with not a speck of knowledge floating around in the box of rocks they call a brain whatsoever. If they can't distinguish that this individual has no clue what he's talking about, no factual basis to support any of his allegations, for even calling people stupid, to even argue that they're wrong. All right, here we go.
Well, you heard the man. Here we go. Let's see what useless nonsense he's going to come up with now, because we're going to jump into proving this stuff wrong as we go through this video, guys. This is going to get interesting. Sit back for a laugh.
So, Schrodinger's cat states that I made an actual arrest and not so much a citizen's arrest. Schrodinger's cat, I executed a textbook definition citizen's arrest.
So, Mike here is claiming that he made a textbook citizen's arrest. All right. Now, citizen's arrest, there is a court record from the Supreme Court of Virginia called William C. Hudson versus Commonwealth of Virginia. It was decided September 12th, 2003, record number 022703. Now, I'm not going to go over reading all of this. If you want to, I suggest you look up Hudson v. Commonwealth from 2003 and go over that. But the common law in Virginia permits a citizen to effect an arrest for a breach of the peace occurring in his or her presence. And in the Hudson case, it says Hudson's dangerous driving in and of itself, regardless whether he was under the influence of intoxicants, constituted a breach of the peace committed in the presence of Officer Wills. In this case, yes, if you witness someone committing a breach of the peace, you can make an arrest. However, what Mike is failing to tell you guys is that he did not witness his RV, his camper, whatever the heck it is, get stolen. If you watch Schrodinger's video, which I encourage you to watch Schrodinger's video, or look up Mike's YouTube channel, One Stop 14th Amendment Shop on YouTube. He has the body camera footage from, I think, all the officers that were there that arrested him for impersonation. He says that he wasn't there when it was towed away and someone called him. So he did not witness a breach of the peace. So he could not legally effectuate a citizen's arrest. This man is a moron.
The police that showed up that day were solicited by a defendant in my instant case, the lawsuit that I filed. They were solicited by way of a false report claiming that I was threatening and harassing his employees. Now, when I walked into this establishment, I was recording. I walked in, approached an employee on the other side of the desk. I said, "Excuse me, is the owner-operator here?" He said, "Yes, just 1 second." I said, "Thank you." And I stood my ground and I waited and then addressed the owner-operator. Now, tell me, based on the evidence that I've submitted on my YouTube and the allegation that I'm making now of what I did, does that sound like I was threatening or harassing employees?
Do you guys really think I'm going to let you just take his word for it? Of course not. I have video proof of him saying, "You're under arrest." He didn't make a citizen's arrest. He said, "You're under arrest." He handed the guy a piece of paper. The image that we get of the paper on body camera footage is not the best clarity to make out all the details. So I'm waiting to see if someone else has a good copy of it so we can see it.
Correct. I'm Mike Raposo. We spoke on the phone in regards to my sole domicile, the RV that was removed. I wanted to deliver this to you and speak with you in regards to it. My sister wanted me to speak with you kindly versus
Well, now,
more
I'm
so
tell you
as
how
a
this works,
professional.
sir. Let me tell you this how simple.
Please.
You delivered the letter to me. Right out John 58. I want you to get in that road and go about your business.
You stay here. You're under arrest.
That's all right. I'll stay right here.
Thank you. No. So when you call 911 as a business director attempting to cover your ass to solicit individuals from the same agency your wife works for in an attempt to retaliate against the individual whom you've committed theft against, it shows your true colors when you gotta lie to get the cops there. So, I showed up and delivered a notice to the defendant giving him an option to retract from his crimes against me and my property and to restore me immediately to my property. And I'll cover this later. The officers give false statements in regards to that delivery method and how it was conducted. Remember, it was recorded. It was alleged that I said by an officer that I was a sheriff's deputy delivering a warrant. It's not true. That's an officer giving a false report and making false statements to other officers, which is a crime. I have been criticized for calling myself a lawyer. Textbook definition of a lawyer is one who practices or studies law.
You know, I hate to bust his bubble again, but a lawyer is a professional who is qualified to offer advice about the law or represent someone in legal matters. A lawyer can also be called an attorney, a solicitor, a counselor, a barrister, or everybody's favorite term, an ambulance chaser. A lawyer means one who practices the law, not studies, practices the law. And they're usually certified through the state's bar.
I practice and study for myself. I will be glad to offer any insight and knowledge that I may possess in a consultation with others free of charge, just to enlighten them and educate them in regards to what the law is, and show them different sources where they can find information, Google Scholar, researching case law, etc. In the video, I said I was a private attorney general. I'm not lying. With all the hard work I'm doing with the investigation of a violation of RICO Act all across the board, brought on by most of the officials I've come in contact with, to be a private attorney general basically means you're authorized by the RICO Act of the United States, the Racketeering Influence Corrupt Organization Act. And you act as a private citizen to conduct investigations and stings and busts of organized criminal activity.
Okay, I'm no lawyer by no means, but this man is not making any sense. Legal wise, period. All right. RICO Act? This guy's quoting crap off of Wikipedia. Who trusts Wikipedia anymore for anything? Let's take a look at this. Okay, here is what a private attorney general is according to Wikipedia. This is where he's gotten the information on a private attorney general. But he's gotten the concept all completely backwards. In the United States, a private attorney general is an informal term for a private attorney who brings a lawsuit considered to be in the public interest, i.e., benefiting the general public and not just the plaintiff, on behalf of a citizen or a group of citizens. The attorney may, at the equitable discretion of the court, be entitled to recover attorney's fees if he or she prevails. The rationale behind the principle is to provide extra incentive to private attorneys to pursue suits that may be of benefit to society at large. Now, back out of this real quick. Maybe it was in the Wikipedia. Yeah, here it is. Another example of the private attorney general provisions is the Racketeering Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO. Allows average citizens, private attorneys general, to sue most organizations that commit mail and wire fraud as part of their criminal enterprise. To date, there are over 60 federal statutes that encourage private enforcement by allowing prevailing plaintiffs to collect attorney's fees. I don't know where this information came from on the Wikipedia page. I have read the RICO Act from top to bottom. I have never seen the term private attorneys general in the RICO Act. I encourage you to look it up for yourself and don't go by what the hell's on Wikipedia. Actually go to a government website like the federal government's websites that cover RICO and look at it. You will not see private attorneys general listed anywhere in there. You can sue under the RICO Act for mail and wire fraud. But what he is referring to in his RV being stolen is not mail fraud, and it damn sure is not wire fraud.
So it's in the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights. It's there, and
Okay, I don't know how many times I'm going to have to tell this to people like him. RICO Act is not in the Constitution. It is not a part of the Constitution. It is not in the Bill of Rights. Your Bill of Rights are the first 10 amendments in the Constitution. RICO Act is a USC, a federal law, United States Code, not a right.
Nobody knows it exists, apparently. That's not my interpretation. That's what it is. It is perfectly fine for a citizen to represent themselves and act as a lawyer for themselves.
Wow, he finally got one right for a change. Yes, people do have a right to represent themselves. It's called pro se. Pro se, meaning for yourself. You're defending yourself. Or, you're trying a case about yourself for yourself. Usually, judges are going to tell you that is not that advisable. They're going to tell you, I recommend you hire or talk to a lawyer, someone licensed to practice law. It's not a private attorney.
However, it is not lawful for an officer to give you legal advice. He told me that it wasn't a crime. He didn't even investigate. He didn't even see that they broke state law to conduct it, towing my property in violation of a clear state law as a private business, removing a citizen off of public property.
Okay, so he was right on one thing. Now we're right back to not knowing crap about actual law. Mike, in the video, you said it's property that people own, but they don't have any signs up saying that, you can't leave your vehicle here. That's not public property. It's publicly accessible, yes, but there is a difference between publicly accessible and public property. A very, very distinguishable difference. Publicly accessible property is more than likely private property that the private property owner allows the general public to access on a regular basis. Public property is property owned by the government and is accessible to the general public on a regular basis. What you did was park your vehicle on someone's private property.
I can be held liable in a court of law for filing false reports and making false statements. It is not an officer's job to practice law and to dictate what is criminal and what is civil.
Do I even have to say what's wrong with this statement? An officer has to determine whether they're handling a call that is a criminal call or a civil call. Officers of law enforcement agencies can only make arrests, write tickets, enforce laws that are criminal in nature. Civil laws is a matter to be handled by attorneys and clients before a judge or before a judge and jury. So yes, the officers have every single right to determine whether a case that you are calling them out for is a criminal matter or a civil matter.
This is a prime definition of them practicing law unlicensed. Granted, I can represent myself and practice law for myself. I have every right to do so. When officers tell you that it is not criminal and it is civil, this is a blatant example of them practicing law unlicensed. If I file a criminal report and give statements alleging that an individual has conducted themselves in a manner which would be criminal, it is their duty to investigate, even in accordance with the statutory authority in Virginia state law. He takes a jab at me, calling me a mental midget, telling me I learned or earned a law degree from Google, then goes right back to the video like that was profound information to be sharing to make him feel better about himself for his followers and his fans. He is nothing but a common bully. He made a comment as I was being arrested that I'm going to have a place to sleep tonight, as if I didn't already have a place that had been stolen from me unlawfully. Not at any point in the video does he offer factual statements in regards to law or the acts that have occurred, having done any diligent research to determine through other videos that were shared from different angles that I was in fact actively retaliated, solicited by one of the defendants. And he called law enforcement, gave false reports. He said I was threatening and harassing his employees. They could have showed up, guns drawn. I could have had a gun to my head. I could have been shot dead as a result of his false statement that he made to cops that day to 911, claiming that I was a threat to other people. Because officers can use their discretion to pick and choose what they want to investigate, these officers exercise their discretion to choose not to investigate a business director for alleged felony crime. This business director, he has contracts tied to the very same agency that had been solicited against me. A business director whose wife works for the very same agency that those agents work for, that he requested that were sent to retaliate. Schrodinger's cat offers no value and no insight to law or any factual basis to debunk any claims to debunk any claims or offers that would say I'm in the wrong.
But Mike, several of us have gone to your comment section and have made comments and actually tried to help you in understanding where you're wrong in this matter. So let's forget the Schrodinger's cat stuff. How about we take a look at some of your comments? Okay, so I'm going to read from just this one comment on his community post page. All right, so this is a One Stop 14th Amendment Audit Shop. And this is the comment that I have been called out by him on. And it goes, his original post is, for my next trick, since the defense would like to settle to skirt liability for their crimes, I'm prepared to offer them a settlement acting as a private attorney general as authorized by the United States Constitution, which I'm going to bring that up next. It's not in the Constitution. I will be offering plea bargains for potential settlements. To any of you idiots who want to say I have no right, you guys are idiots. I would encourage you idiots, he loves that word, to attempt to report me for acting as a private attorney general, about to offer plea bargains to individuals. Go ahead and report me to the police. Please, I beg you, find somebody who studied law to come and arrest me. Because if nobody's arresting me for doing what I've been doing, then I'm doing it right. Not necessarily. They might still be investigating you. So let's go and look at this. Oh, and what do you know? My comment right here to him is, One Stop, please get your information correct. The term private attorney general is not in the U.S. Constitution. The term was first used by SCOTUS on May 17, 1943, and denotes a plaintiff who sues to vindicate public interests not directly connected to any special stake of their own, which is true. Where I got this information from is from a document that is easily findable if you just Google private attorney generals. Excuse me, that's not the proper word. Private attorneys general. It will pull up University of Michigan Law School, and there is a PDF file you can pull up where it talks about SCOTUS and May 17th, 1943, and private attorneys general. So let's see the replies, because this has got 18 replies. By the way, there's a famous YouTuber who's actually on here with me going after this guy. You'll recognize the name Blue Bacon. Go read the RICO Act. This is only combat. Blue Bacon stated, you should probably read it first, which is correct. My reply, the RICO Act mentions attorney general, not private attorneys general. And then he ats me with Supreme Law Org private attorney general link. This was my favorite one. Was this one right here? American Common Defense Review.wordpress.com. And then Blue Bacon comes back, except you're not acting in the manner outlined in those links. Duh. The requirement, you are filing a lawsuit to benefit the public. The benefit, you don't have to pay legal fees. That's it. You have no special authority. Your lawsuit does not meet the requirements for the doctrine, which is correct, because you are filing a lawsuit for personal interest, because you don't understand that your issue is a civil one, which is correct. Exactly what my original comment said. That was me commenting back at Blue Bacon. Blue Bacon goes, bingo! And then I come back at one stop with, so your two sources are not through any reputable court, law practice, or even an actual law school. One is a WordPress site, which anyone can set up on their own. When the sources I quoted from are actual law professors and scholars from reputable law schools. And as far as the RICO Act goes, the only website listing a private attorney general and the RICO Act is Wikipedia, not the actual law itself. And Wikipedia says private attorney general can sue under RICO for mail and wire fraud, neither of which apply to your case. Someone else commented, One Stop is a classic sovereign citizen. He ignores any fact that disagrees with his views and stretched things to fit his desires. Not lying. And there's more. Yes, I know, he keeps calling himself a private attorney general, when in fact, what he is doing is called a pro se litigant. Whereas a private attorney general sues for a matter that is of public interest and has no personal stake in the matter, a pro se litigant sues for a matter that they personally benefit from. Yeah, I know. One stop again. Yeah, I know what I shared, but did you read the RICO Act? As if he hasn't read all of this up here. Yeah, and it has nothing to do with a private attorney general. You and I know that. He doesn't. So typical of a SovCit. Did you read the RICO Act? It doesn't mention private attorney general anywhere. So what is your point? Do you have a point or just babbling nonsense? Never mind. The answer is obvious. Of course, I had to laugh at that. And then Blue Bacon, you might want to read it first. The actual act, though, not just a Wikipedia article that uses it as an example. We can wait. And then this was just 22 hours ago. I don't know, based on some of his grammar and spelling errors, some of us may die of old age before he has the ability to read at anything higher than maybe a second grade level. I mean, while we can wait for him to read the Wikipedia article, he won't be able to read any of the citations from it. Which is kind of true. And then this is just everybody else is literally just laughing at him. And then Blue Bacon down here 2 days ago, the Constitution doesn't authorize that. Stop making things up. It's funny with people like this when they start acting like they know everything and start thinking that the Constitution grants them these rights and powers that they obviously don't have never have, and the Constitution never grants. And I know that the first 10 amendments of the bill of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, are not the only rights that you have. There are ones that aren't listed. That's a given. You go to law school or any school will tell you that. Your rights are not just the rights enumerated in the Bill of Rights. There's other implied rights that you have as well. But this guy is taking implied rights to a whole nother level.
This is just a feeble attempt at degrading another individual for personal gain, fame, and profit. As you notice in the video, the officers conspired to charge me with trespassing after I already removed myself from the individual's property where I conducted the citizen's arrest to turn over the citizen's arrest to law enforcement. At no point does Schrodinger's cat elaborate that I exercised the constitutionally protected activity by the state Constitution of Virginia and the Constitution of the United States. This attempt at soliciting a charge is in fact a retaliatory act and an attempt at deprivation of rights under Title 18 United States Code Section 241, and it is a blatant conspiracy. It is a blatant conspiracy under Title 241 and a deprivation of rights under Title 242. The deputy in the video claims that I had signed off on a warrant and claims that I was the deputy sheriff. This is a retaliatory act brought on by this agent for giving false statements to officers in an attempt to retaliate against the victim, witness, and informant of crime. Making this claim is an allegation that would violate 18.2-174 on the first part of the statute for impersonating a law enforcement officer. The second part of 18.2-174 is assuming the duties of law enforcement. This is invidious legislation that was brought on by the politicians, the Democrats and the Republicans, two separate parties that are a part of one criminal organization, in an attempt to solicit law enforcement for the attempted criminalization and extortion of my class of citizenry.
Just one question. Class of citizenry? What class of citizenry would that be? Mike, you're supposedly this knowledgeable legal expert, and you know more than everybody else. So what class of citizenry are you?
The statute needs a constitutional challenge to the second part of the face of it for abrogating the citizen's right to conduct a citizen's arrest for felony within view over theft of property. To conduct a citizen's arrest, you cannot just be exercising your right aimlessly.
Yes, Mike, we've gone over this already in this video. You can make a citizen's arrest, and you don't do it aimlessly. When you said in view, guess what? That means you had to be physically present during the removal of your property to make a citizen's arrest for felony theft. You weren't there. You admitted so in the body camera footage.
One would assume that you would need to investigate, report on, and arrest an individual for felony within view to conduct an appropriate citizen's arrest. The officers in several of my body camera videos make sure they tip off other officers in regards to their body cameras still being on and actively recording for the sole purposes of making these individuals aware not to trip up on camera during an active investigation. It is true that a couple of these agents during this investigation have in fact tampered with body camera footage during an active investigation, and this is in fact a crime of obstruction of justice by way of tampering with a video recording device during an active investigation. These officers are liable for a string of crimes here in Halifax County committed against me in the previous case of a malicious prosecution for impersonating and assuming duties of law enforcement, which was a charge solicited by the state in an attempt to abrogate and deprive me of my right to conduct a citizen's arrest. and exercise my rights, my constitutional rights.
You know, Mike, you might want to start listening to Blue Bacon and start reading things a little bit more than what you're doing. A citizen's arrest is not a right that you have. It's a law, a common law, because Virginia is a commonwealth. You can make a citizen's arrest if you witness a breach of the peace. Meaning you have to be there and actually see the breach of peace happen.
Schroeder's cat called me a series of names in an attempt to degrade my name and the opinions of what others hold on me. He called me a sovereign citizen. At no point during his video or any of my videos will you hear me refer to myself as a sovereign citizen.
You were called a sovereign citizen because of your mannerisms, the way you speak, and your actions are those that are very, very, very similar to that of an actual sovereign citizen. You make up things, half-ass read laws, and mix match laws together to make things appear to be what you're saying they are, and try to apply that in an actual court setting. I'm surprised the judge hasn't already thrown you in jail for contempt for some of the actions you have done.
As you can see by the agents in the video who are explaining their interpretation of what they believe law to be, when in fact they don't even know they're asked from their elders. The moment you are knowledgeable of law and you start educating them on what the law is, they're going to give their idea or interpretation or deflect and tell you, oh, you just got to go take it up in court. Even if they just fraudulently charged you and you were looking forward to a malicious prosecution, which is what I have a history of, false charges and malicious prosecution. Schroeder's cat called me a mental midget, referring to the mental health and mental capacity that I have. After watching his review and commentary on my video, I believe him to be the exact equivalent of a mental midget, or what you would assume a complete mongoloid to be. If you like this video and you want to see more stupid in the future, please continue to follow Schroeder's cat. Have a wonderful day. Mike out.
Well, guys, there you have it. That is One Stop 14th Amendment Audit Shop and his claims to be a private attorney general, a private attorney, making what he claims is a citizen's arrest, yet he did not witness the criminal act in person, which would make it a breach of the peace, which would make it where he could actually make a citizen's arrest under Virginia law. He's confusing certain things to be rights when they're not rights. This man is all over the place. Like I said earlier, I'm surprised he hasn't already gotten into it with the judge and the judge thrown him in jail for contempt. Because basically what a sovereign citizen does in a courtroom is they try to take over the courtroom and hold the courtroom basically almost hostage in most cases. They're a different breed of people. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see you in the next one. Like, share, subscribe, join us in the Discord chat, and we'll see you next time.